Hello and welcome to our new series of Minisodes with author and police advisor Graham Bartlett. Graham is a best-selling author and crime and police procedural advisor to fiction and TV writers. He was a police officer for 30 years and mainly policed the city of Brighton and Hove, rising to become a chief superintendent and its police commander. Graham started writing when he left the police in 2013 and, almost by accident, became a police procedural and crime advisor, helping scores of authors and TV writers, including Peter James, Mark Billingham, Ellie Griffiths, Anthony Horowitz, Ruth Ware, Claire McGowan and Dorothy Coomson, achieve authenticity in their drama. He also runs online crime writing workshops and courses with the Professional Writing Academy and delivers inputs to master's programmes at the University of Cambridge and the University of East Anglia, as well as at the Crime Writing Certificate programme at West Dean College. He lives in Sussex with his wife Julie and, variously, his 24-year-old triplets. His debut crime novel, Bad for Good, is out now, and not only is it a fantastic, gritty novel, it's also an absolute must-read for anyone looking to write in the police procedural genre.
That's absolutely right. And each episode of our minisodes will be around 10 minutes long, and we'll focus on how crime authors can ensure authenticity when writing about the police. So without further ado, please welcome the fabulous Graham Bartlett. Hello, Graham, and welcome to our sixth and final minisode, where we'll be picking your brains on one of the big pieces of advice that you have for authors of any genre, thriller, cosy, procedural. But first, we've spoken throughout these minisodes about research, lingo, character, and getting it right. As both a former police officer and an author, you are well placed to speak from both sides. Do you think having experiences in the police force gives you an advantage as a crime writer always, or do you find it just as tough as the rest of us sometimes?
I definitely find it tough. Obviously because of the job I used to do, I don't struggle with most of the procedures. I struggle with some of them, but I know who to ask, and I can get the right answer very quickly from people. So that side of it, I don't kind of have to worry about too much. But I still have the struggles around a pacey plot, credible and engaging characters. The battle between protagonists and antagonists, and making sure that that there is a slightly unequal power dynamic between them, in favour of the antagonist. All of those sorts of, so the technical side of it, and the kind of the waves, the peaks and troughs of the story, I find very difficult. And I'm writing the third at the moment in the Joe House series, and a few weeks ago I went through a period of a couple of weeks where I simply didn't know how to. I knew what the ending wanted to be. I simply didn't know how to get from about 75,000 words to 90,000 words, so that I could start that ending that I wanted. So I find it very difficult, but I absolutely love it. And I'm learning more about it, so I worry less about those kind of those sticky periods now, because I know it's part of the process. When I was writing Bad for Good, I tried to write it perfectly from page one, and of course that's just a ridiculous thing to try and do, and unless you're a very, very talented and experienced author. So now I just kind of write, get the story down, and then I'll go back and sort it out later.
Do you think there are any disadvantages to knowing too much? With your experience, can it hinder you sometimes? And the overdoing it on the research, that this body of knowledge that you have, can that be a disadvantage as much as an advantage?
Yeah, no, it definitely can, and it's something that I fell into in early drafts of Bad for Good, and luckily it was pointed out to me that I don't need to reflect every single officer that would be involved in a murder investigation on the page. You know, all I need to do is give a nod to the fact that there are other people doing other things, and there's a team around it, but focusing on the main characters. You know, so I had to cut my police numbers by about 50%, I think, just because I said to my agent, I said, well, you know, that's how it is. And it was a different agent from the one I've got now, and she said, yeah, but no one cares. You know, they care about your characters, and they want the characters to be doing the right thing. You don't need to have all this kind of supporting cast around them. So there's that, and there is a kind of temptation to reflect things like forensic timelines too accurately, because forensic timelines are just great big gaps in your storyline, you know, because you're waiting 6 weeks for toxicology to come back. So you know, I'm very aware of it now, but I have got the risk of falling too much back into reality.
Yeah, I can see that. So we've come to our final question of all the minisodes now. It's been such a fascinating series, been so much advice. I can't wait to listen to them back, actually. So for your final question, if you wanted our listeners to take one thing away from these minisodes, if you could offer one final piece of advice for authenticity in policing for authors, what would it be?
It would be that your story and characters come first. That would be absolutely key. But make sure your scaffolding around those is strong enough to be able to carry that forward. So you know, don't sacrifice story and character for procedure, but get the procedure to fit what you want it to do. Fantastic.
That's such good advice. Thank you.
Yeah, I like that. That's very reassuring, actually.
Yeah, it is.
Well, sadly, that's the end of our series of minisodes with police advisor and author Graham Bartlett. Thank you so much, Graham, for sharing your expertise with us and allowing us to pick your brains on all things policing in crime fiction. And I know our listeners, as Lauren and I too, have really, really benefited from your advice. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
It absolutely has been. Thank you so much. And Graham's debut, Bad for Good, is out now. It's an absolutely fantastic gritty crime novel. The links to buy it are in the information section in your podcast and vodcast, so do look for them. And yes, just to say thank you very much again. And if you do want to listen to the full episode with Graham, that is Series 6, Episode 7.
So that's it for now. It's goodbye from Graham.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Lauren.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me.